right, everybody, welcome back. It is Sunday, September 10th, 2023, and this specific date marks a very significant time period for the Atlantic hurricane season. Now, of course, we are tracking Hurricane Lee as well as Margot and some invests that are already forming behind those two storms, closer to the coast of Africa, one of which is showing signs of becoming a major hurricane and following a very similar path to Lee. Now, before we get to that, I want to talk about the fact that September 10th is the exact peak hurricane season date, as you can see in this chart right here, which falls in the middle of our peak hurricane season time period. Now, September 10th is also a very significant date because of the fact that 6 years ago to the day, we had the landfall of Hurricane IRMA in Florida. Now, for those of you that don't know, this was also the same season where we had Hurricane Harvey in the Gulf, making landfall in Corpus Christi, Texas on September 28th. Not only that, but every 6 years, the Atlantic hurricane name list is reused besides the names that were retired. So if you compare 2017's name list to 2023's name list, you could see that the names are the same besides the major storms that were retired from 2017. So just a little bit of history there as far as why we call this time period the peak of hurricane season. And now with that said, let's take a look at what's going on as we speak with the latest data on Hurricane Lee, Tropical Storm Margot, and a small look at what we might be seeing in the near future with these two invests right here, both at 30% chance of cyclone formation. As you can see right here, Lee is at a Category 2, 110 mile an hour sustained winds. That is up 5 miles per hour just in the last 2 hours. And this is something we spoke about yesterday. Once again, take a look at this updated chart about the strength and the cone of uncertainty in which Lee is projected to move and once again become a major hurricane. That is because of two different reasons. One being that Hurricane Lee is being stalled out by two high pressure systems. One is up here, the Bermuda Atlantic high pressure, and there's also a high pressure below it, and it's kind of pinning it into this spot right here, which is why we're not going to see that hook up to the north until about Wednesday morning. Now again, because of the slowdown of Lee and the fact that it's still in very warm waters, as a result of those two high pressure systems, we see a gradual increase in strength once again over the next 12 to 48 hours. And with many of these projections, we see Hurricane Lee becoming a major hurricane again and reaching those Category 4 strength winds. This would technically put Lee between 130 and 156 miles per hour. And now what this re-strengthening does over time is that this storm will have more momentum as it makes that northern hook. We could see right here on the European model that pressure drops significantly back down to 942 millibars. And then we see that northern hook begin at 931 millibars. And then just as Lee begins to hit those cooler waters, the high pressure bubble begins to pull off to the east, allowing this gap right here for Lee to start tracking north. And again, as we spoke about yesterday, that leaves one determining factor that will hopefully keep Lee off the coast of the United States, and that is our jet stream. We see the high pressure right here beginning to morph into the east of the US, just as Lee is tracking in that northern direction. We're going to have to wait a little bit for more data to come in to see exactly what the new projections are as far as Lee tracking in this direction. But here are the current spaghetti plots. More of them than not, as you can see, bring this into Nova Scotia. But again, because of this significant stall out that it's currently going through, that is going to allow more time for the jet stream itself to possibly come and go. And that is why you're seeing some of these plots still showing the possibility of a northeastern coast landfall. These next few days are going to be critical in determining the path of Lee and how much of an effect it's going to have on the northeastern coast. Now, one more thing I wanted to point out are these two invests we see right here. Again, disturbance number 2, 30% chance of cyclone formation in the next 7 days. And then we have one to the west of that, which is also a 30% chance of cyclone formation. Now, chances are these two are going to merge with each other. And in some models, we see a significant development of these two invests. Now, again, I can't stress enough, anything after 5 days is really a coin toss as far as what these systems are going to do. But because we are in peak hurricane season and because of what we saw with Lee, it is very possible that in the coming days, we're going to see the formation, which would technically be Tropical Storm Nigel, following a very similar path as to what Lee did. And once again, we have this high pressure bubble pinning this down into the warm water belt towards the Leeward and Lesser Antilles Islands. And as I said, some projections showing this becoming a large hurricane, again following a path towards the northern end of Puerto Rico. And if we really want to get crazy, we see this thing form into a major hurricane just as Hurricane Lee is expected to do in the coming days. And once again, as the high pressure bubble morphs and allows this storm to come in a northern direction, we have the potential for yet another possible landfall on the eastern seaboard. Now again, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I want to show you that projection just to give you an idea of what peak hurricane season is really all about. Now, one more thing we want to keep an eye on, and a very popular area for hurricanes to form is the Southern Caribbean. This is also a hotspot we want to watch due to the extreme warm temperatures of the water. It's looking to be a very busy few weeks as we get through the month of September into October with these storms all over the Atlantic Ocean. So do yourselves a solid and check in daily as we move through the last 3 weeks of September and into early October. And as always, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. Please check out the In2Thinair Twitter and Instagram accounts for other updates throughout the day, and I will see you all in the next video. Shout out to Canada. Take care. Bye-bye. Stop right there, my friends. If you have not already, click that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Click all and you will get all notifications from this channel. And trust me, you won't be disappointed.